the Zeno Infinity.
GM and GM, we are live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And today we've got some special guests from MultiverseVM and Xeno Infinity. We're gonna learn as much as we can learn about this project because there's some things that I really love that you guys have done. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So yeah, just give us a quick intro of yourselves and let the people know who you are.
Yeah, gotcha. So first off, thank you guys for having us. Super excited to be here. As I told you before, like we've been watching your shows for quite a bit. So yeah, I guess I'll just give a short intro of like the team, and Yuzu and I can kind of briefly introduce ourselves. So our core team is comprised of 5 members. It's 3 developers and 2 non-devs. And as you can guess, Yuzu and I are the non-devs. So yeah, we essentially are in charge of everything: business, partnerships, marketing, strategy, and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's a short intro.
Okay, cool. And yeah, let's move on to the background of the project. Can you talk a little bit more about Xeno Infinity and Metaverse VM?
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start with like a short introduction, and we can kind of like add on and like jump on any more specific points. So,
Sure.
in short, Multiverse VM is an exploration-based metaverse that can integrate any of your NFTs that you own. So essentially, your Web3 identity is integrated within it. It's actually split into 2 separate projects. So it's Multiverse VM, as you mentioned, and Zeno Infinity. So Multiverse VM is the metaverse layer. So think like Sandbox, NFT worlds, Decentraland, whatever you can build there. It's a similar concept, right? But then what Zeno Infinity is your essentially your character within that metaverse, and it can also display
Mm.
any NFTs you own, your Web3 identity, and has additional utilities and perks, which will be announced later as well. Actually, what a really good analogy is, so think of it this way, right? So Multiverse VM is like your PS5, and within the PS5 you have different games and experiences you can build, and then you have your account within your PS5, right? You need something to play, an account, a controller, and that's kind of your Zeno Infinity. So these two work hand in hand to kind of give the best experience to the users.
Okay, cool. And I just haven't heard this term before. When you say exploration based, what do you mean specifically?
Yeah, I could add on to that. So we are having this utility model called Explore to Earn, E2E, and it embeds play
Okay.
to earn features. But it really kind of revolves around our main idea of exploration, right? Having that main theme of exploration that really goes beyond, tokenomics or staking. So it's something that's going to have a lot of pipelines within that is really driving a content driven culture that we really want to have as a platform. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a brand new concept, so that's yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
cool. Yeah, awesome. Very unique. And is there a specific theme for the metaverse? Like we see the Sandbox as a gamified metaverse, and it looks like Decentraland's focusing more towards
Mhm,
a social
mhm,
hub. And
mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
what are you guys planning to build
Man,
in
I love that
Multiverse
question.
VM?
Yeah, I really like the question. So I think a really great way to just answer that first is to say that we want to be a platform that allows people to really build their dreams into reality, right? Something that
Mm.
can be experienced by the public. That maybe that idea was not so Web 2 friendly in the climate that is established in the Web 2 space. So we really want to create that platform, a really fertile and organic platform that allows people to create whatever experiences that they want to, whether or not it's a social hub focused content, or a game like an FPS game, or they want to integrate a virtual service that belongs from the Web 2 world. So we call that bridging the Web 2 to the Web 3 space, right? We want to be that host for all of these contents. And we will be able to do this because of our building capabilities, right? Similar to Sandbox, we're going to integrate a well, first off, we're going to have two ways you can build things. And the first way is you do not need to know any programming knowledge. So it's really to be as, user friendly as possible with building things like similar to Minecraft, where you could just kind of place tiles, So we have that. And, we also know that there are professionals in this field who really want to take it up a notch. And these people, they need a professional toolkit, right? So we thought instead of reinventing the wheel, why not we integrate a game engine that really allows anything to be built on within our ecosystem, right? And that engine is called Unity Engine. So we will be integrating Unity Engine within our, we call it like the user generated content toolkit, but we're going to call this like the pro kit for professionals, developers, programmers to create really, you know, highly complex logics and games, or not even games really, but content experiences, interactive experiences that stretches beyond gamification. But yeah.
Okay. So even someone like me that has no idea how to build inside the metaverse
Mhm.
can come into Multiverse VM, and
Yeah,
maybe I
yeah,
can build something amazing, but I can like start practicing without any barrier to entry
for
for in
a
terms of
hundred, a hundred
knowledge.
percent, 100%.
Okay, that's
And I
awesome.
think this platform would be perfect for people with no programming knowledge, actually, because we actually do not just want to be a platform of dreams. We want to be a platform that have a culture, a culture of building things, where and it is really our part to make this happen, right? It's really our part to execute this, where we design ways that incentivizes people to learn how to build, not for the sake of building things, but really actually seeing values in the dreams and the potential that they could really build on. So although there are two ways you can build this, we'll be designing a lot of interesting ways that gets people to learn how to build, where it's
Okay.
fun for them how to build. So yeah, you'll be able to really build any cool things, quite frankly. But of course, there's always a limitation, right? Because if you want to do something really specialized, something really complex, that's where the professionals will have to come into play. And we will have our form of like verified builders, something similar to what NFT World, they're doing. A huge kudos to them because that's a really, well system in place that allows our audience to have the right resource that they will need, essentially. Yeah.
Do you think you can expand a little bit more about the tools that you'll be given to the community to help them build, or is it still in the
Oh yeah,
works?
yeah. I could definitely reveal a little bit about that, but it's still being hashed out. So so we have this thing called the UGC toolkit, and it's user generated content. So that's the thing that you'll be able to build the contents that you want. So the first one that we have mentioned earlier is the one that you don't require any form of programming knowledge. It would be something like where you could just kind of be placing tiles, I guess. In that way, you could kind of visualize it from that form. So it's kind of similar to what Roblox is like, I guess. But of course, we're going to be hashing out a lot more things and be evolving because we want to, our goal here is to be so user centric in design, where it's UI friendly, where it really reduces the friction, for someone who doesn't know anything about code. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And there's a comment by FlyZish. Will we be able to explore other worlds or just worlds that you own?
I love that question. So yeah, you will be able to explore to other worlds. The reason why it's called a multiverse is because it's really it's like a there are going to be a lot of galaxies within this multiverse, right? And the thing about galaxies are it'd be so cool to have a cross content kind of connection where we allow worlds to be like neighbors. We really incentivize that linkage between you would actually be able to jump to other worlds through this thing called a star launcher. So something that kind of is like a cannon that really just projects you to your neighboring world. So it's really interesting. Yeah. So you will be able to do that. Yeah. And here's a cute little trailer. Yeah. It's yeah, it's pretty dope.
So was that what the multiverse VM looks like? This
Yeah, yeah. We can get into that a little. Yeah.
looks
So
amazing.
yeah. So in terms of the size of this world, we're getting a lot of questions about what's the size of one MVM world. So one MVM world in terms of size would be technically infinite because we use this thing called like a procedural map generation that is kind of similar to what Minecraft uses, where your land space really just keeps generating even if you were to go to the end of it. But so the reason why we did that is because number one, explorers, they need space to build things, they need space to explore things, right?
Mhm.
But more than that, we actually wanted to give our users enough space where they don't really have to focus on the space and really just focus on the content. We don't want them to have like a chip, feel like they have a chip off the shoulder, like, oh, we're like limited in size. So we're trying to say here, like, okay, we're giving you the size, but it's really not the most important thing because if you think about it, contents that are fun, not really how big the size of the map is, but really the contents within it. Now that's a really
Mhm.
content-driven mindset there, right? And
Yeah.
we want to really incorporate the idea of, we really want to incorporate the idea of making our holders who owns more than one world to really use all of their worlds together and create a connection, having an adventure game that really kind of goes beyond one world, having an adventure game that spans across 10 worlds, that how cool would that be, right? So yeah, just to answer the question of that. Mhm.
Yeah. And someone said this is a sick trailer. I agree. That's
Thank
a
you, sir.
very good trailer.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and this is the UGC building thing. Yeah.
But yeah, if you just scroll back like a few seconds, that was like that's a sneak peek of what like the UGC kind of looked like.
Yeah, the user generated content. So, and there are no CG rendering used in this. This is actual in-game footage. I can vouch for this because Ryan and I have experienced this. We have actually tested this, and
Yes.
there's no CG rendering in this. It's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
what you're getting for the graphics. Yeah, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's fine. We thought how cool it would be if you could just fly and see yourself flying like a hero, like an explorer, right? And I'm gonna ramble here a little, so just stop me
Oh
at any
yeah.
time. But I think it's really important to point out that the reason why we are using like your JPEG literally, or like the NFT that you own as your profile picture, is because we want to embrace the idea of having your identity, right? Your Web3 identity. That's something that corresponds to who you are as your presence in the space. If you think about the Web2 space, the thing that makes Facebook so prominent, right, was because it really gave birth to the idea of having identity, having an account, having a name, having a picture. Now we really wanted to tie that into the metaverse space, into the Web3 space. So why not make that account into like an avatar and use your NFT as your profile picture? I mean, it makes absolute sense, right? I mean, people love showing people, what NFTs they own. I mean, it's something that you should be proud
Yeah.
of, So we really wanted to incorporate that idea and really just,
Yeah,
let
I actually want to add two small points onto that. So yes, while like technically you can import any like 3D model into Sandbox, Decentraland in the future, but there's two small problems. The first is that you have to build a 3D model, right? And not all projects have the time, the money, the luxury to do this. It's very time intensive. But on NVM, because it's displayed on the Zen Infinity screen on the head, so we can literally, there's zero delay in like if a project just wants to jump in and integrate into this. We're talking
Yeah.
like 8K resolutions, like for example, like Hades if they want to do something, or GIFs, or like anything basically. So it's instantly integratable, and currently this is not like doable in any metaverse. The
Yeah.
closest one is I'd say like World Wide Web, But even with them, like you see their partners that they're integrating is like rather at a slow pace because they still have to design some sort of pixelated integration with them. But whereas for us, like it's instantaneous, right?
Yeah.
And Web3 identities will become more and more prominent in the future. So that's one approach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an instant flex that you can have in the metaverse.
Sure, for sure. Yeah.
So if you create something and you really like it, can you mint it and own it as an NFT?
That's a really good question. So we have this, and it's going to circle back to this. Crash is going to answer it indirectly. So essentially, we are going to really breed this idea of loot culture, where every fun games, if you think about every fun game out there, that's a strong loot emphasis, like game object, like guns or like weapons. Like these are loots, right? And there's certain loots are more rare, or I guess, you know, have more advantages than certain loots. We're gonna really cultivate that idea, of loot culture, and we want our owners to really make their own loots too, and make contents around those loots, and so yes, in terms of making, would that be an NFT by moral definition? Yes, because it would be an ERC like 721 token, like like where it's like one of one. If that owner were to make that just that gun weapon, for example. Yes. And we actually just announced that MVM loots will be tradable, and there will be an open sea market for it that we are going to set up for. So that creates a natural market to the loots culture emphasis that we're trying to build. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just to add on a bit, actually innately, like so we launched Multiverse VM around like 5 months ago, right? And we were about to launch Sand Infinity. For both collections, there's no innate rarity to it. And the reason is because, like as Yuzu just mentioned, we want to create this kind of focus on rarity based on loot. And what is loot? So I mean, without diving into too much specific details, like think about games that you find fun to play. It could be like MMORPGs like MapleStory or things like that, right? You play it because it's fun, you earn good gear, blah blah blah. But what if we could create this, this kind of like addiction of playing into like a general broad sense of people just enjoying the game first, and we have the capability and ability to do that because we are still small. We're flexible. We're able to respond to what our users would want to play and would want to see from us. So yeah, just something to add on.
Okay, cool. So do you mean the team is currently still small and you're still expanding, or is it already a big team?
So currently our team is well, dev wise, everything you've seen built was built by 3 people in
Oh,
like a few
wow.
months. Yeah, that it's crazy, right? From
Yeah.
scratch. And
In
actually,
five
what's even
months?
crazier is I don't know, like we haven't gotten to this yet, but we have an alpha launch on the 20th.
Hmm.
So I'll give you a short summary. So basically, our idea is for the alpha launch, we want to kind of create. So our end goal is to create kind of like this multiplayer gameplay and then build all this UGC on top of it, right? But in between, like we wanted to give our users something that is playable, something that they can actually experience our core features, which are kind of like the loot culture. So people will be able to come in and play quests and earn loots as well as NFTs from different partners. So we wanted to kind of create this and embed this within to let users try it. And actually, like the crazy thing is, like our devs actually, after we proposed it to them, they made it in about like 1.5 months. So everything you see in the trailers and everything that you'll see on the 20th, which a lot is yet to be released, was actually made in 1.5 months. And that's a statement to showcase that, hey, you can actually build all this like crazy stuff,
Yeah,
and we're really excited to show you guys like the fruits of the labor.
that's insane. I mean, it sounds like your team is really hustling.
For
So,
Yeah,
sure. That
yeah.
yeah.
I just want to add on to something that Ryan mentioned is, so there will be two types of rewards in this alpha launch. The first one would be the Multiverse VM exclusive loots that will have, again, mentioned earlier, rare utilities to it that will be mentioned later on. But the second type of rewards is that really shows the versatility to this explore to earn model is letting people win NFTs within a loot box. And we are actually I think we are working with 15, 14 to 15 projects on this. So we have purchased our partners NFTs, and we
Oh,
will
wow.
be using it as a reward. So it's like if you're the first to find that, you're keeping that. You get to win
Mm,
that NFT, and it's free. And we really want to kind of embrace the idea of having a experience that you can actually try it first for free, open to the public, right? Understand it first, love it, right? And then only mint it. That's how we want to really develop trust between our audience and our holders. We are really given that opportunity to allow people to try it for free. We know a lot of projects don't get this opportunity, so they have to
yeah,
generate funding from minting out, right? But we already had a mint out, so we want to use this opportunity to show that we're really customer driven, really community driven. And this picture right here is such a great way to show that, like, that's just, if you think about it, that's like just one parcel. If you think about it in terms of like Sandbox, right?
yeah,
Now think of 10 billion of that. Yeah, that's really like, that's infinite, really. You wouldn't need that much space. Exactly. I see you smiling now because you're like, wow, that's big. Exactly. You're kind of thinking like, wow, I can really create a lot of things here. Precisely. But the point is to go beyond that and connect it with other worlds that you own or other neighbors. Create a game that is like that really dives deep into exploration. But we've been mentioning a lot about games, but like to just remind the audience who are listening, like if you're not someone who cares a lot about games, that doesn't mean this is not for you. If you want to create like a shop, like a virtual shoe shop, you could create a store as a virtual store in on your world. You'll be able to do that. If you wanted to create something that ties in like a grocery store in the real world, you could create that e-commerce within this platform too. Like really, there are no limits
yeah,
to this. So I just want to really just emphasize on that. Yeah.
yeah. There's going to be a lot of business opportunities inside of the multiverse VM. Yeah. And as someone who's a huge fan of MMORPGs, like this sounds very exciting to me because I
Oh,
just love games where I can explore for like years. Like I used to be a huge fan of RuneScape, and I think I
mhm.
played the game for like 5 years, but I still, I still haven't
Yeah,
finished
exactly,
exploring it.
exactly.
Yeah,
There's there's this aspect of like never ending
yeah,
content, right? And that's an
yeah,
aspect of having loots. When there's new loots every season, if we make it a seasonal thing, that's a purpose to this. And that's
yeah,
what we really want to just kind of drive it home. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like just to add on, like you play RuneScape not because you expect to earn money like for a living, right? You play it because it's fun, and that's
hmm,
kind of what we want to drive in as like a core, our core belief, our core element is that like we make this kind of like addicting gameplay that people like interconnected experiences that people like act genuinely enjoy, and then later potentially like if we decide to do a token or whatnot, then we hope that the value comes naturally like through there instead of having tokens just for speculative value or like whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, I agree. I'm macro bullish on play to earn, but like short term trends of play to earn, it's not looking very good right now because people are only playing just to earn, and as soon as the token drops, it like yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah. I mean, you
it's
really
bad.
hit the nail on that because, I was talking to this about, with Rye earlier, and we were saying, like, how, like, again, mentioned, like, you don't play Counter Strike because you're gonna earn the tokens or anything. You're playing because it's fun. It's like, it's challenging you in a certain way. It's like it's just a fun thing to do, right? And so a lot of people. I mean, we get into this too now. It's like, is there gonna be tokenomics? Like, what is the token? Like, is that staking? I think to answer that is, if we were to say, yeah, like, yeah, we have a token now, and this is everything, it'd be so easy to market that, right? And just pump it to floor price or something. But then it's not sustainable, and that is not something that we want to do. We are really trying to build towards sustainability here, something that lasts for decades,
Yeah,
something that evolves with the market. So we to answer that is, we want to only have tokenomics if we can actually see a true purpose behind having a token. And I can say this now: we have found a few purposes behind getting a token. So potentially we could have tokenomics, but we don't want to paint a narrative like, oh, we're going to have like MVM tokens as like the main narrative as to why you would get a world. We want that to be a secondary reason, But we want the primary reason is because it excites you, challenges you to build your dreams into reality. Where you see value. Kind of generating hope in you as a creator, right? And I think it's really important because think about it. If you were to just have tokens, a tokenomics system that is like driving your economy, not economy in the sense of like your in-game economy, but driving your platform sustainability, and it's like accounts 90% of that, and 10% of it is like only people building things. It's not sustainable because if the tokens were to collapse, for example, the market were to collapse, technically a platform would be in serious danger. So we need to kind of have the numbers kind of reverse, where there's more people getting into this for content purposes. And
Yeah.
so if you think about it, it's like building layers of soil. We want that first layer, like that foundation layer, to just be creators. And that's what we really have in our Discord community now. We have a lot of excited holders who want to build things, build cool things. We want these people to embrace this kind of culture, because we know over time, as the floor price increase, we know there'll be more inorganic reasons why people, and that's completely fine because
Yeah.
it's the NFT market. Go get the bread. We're not against that, but for the best interest of our company, right? We really want to have a fertile organic soil to grow on. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great mindset you guys have. You guys are not focused on hype. You're making it free to play, and yeah, you're not making a token just for the sake of making a token. And the loot, the rewards that you've placed in the game, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I'm not gonna lie.
For sure. That, I mean, that's exactly like you're the type of person that we do want to attract as well, because like you used to play like games, I assume, as well.
Yeah.
Talk about RuneScape and whatnot. So like for sure, I think this is something that you'll personally be really interested to see, and I can say from personal experiences because like Yuzu and I have like tried it, and yeah, it's great stuff for sure. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be checking the alpha out on the 20th, and it's anyone can participate. It's completely free.
Anyone.
And
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
you would definitely need to have a MetaMask wallet. I mean, that's a for
Yeah.
sure thing. But other than that, like, you're good. You just got to have a web browser on and have internet, and you'll be good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Exactly.
Wow, the chat's going crazy with
With
I
the
think
multi.
yeah. Wow. Slow down, guys. Slow down. So let's talk about the Xeno Infinities. Is it an avatar collection that is already launched? And can you talk a little bit more about the utility behind it?
Okay, so good question. So actually, our Xeno Infinity launch was split into two phases. So phase one was about like early to mid January, and essentially that was an unmarketed stealth launch. So basically, I mean, unmarketed as in like literally zero marketing. They just suddenly one day said like, "Hey, here's a launch, here's a collection," and so yeah, I mean, we paused that about 3 weeks later, and then we decided to okay, now for the phase two launch, we're going to try to attract the wider public and actually do marketing and also link this with alpha launch so people can actually see what they're actually investing in as well. So that's why you currently see some Xeno Infinities on the OpenSea. There's
Yeah.
about like 2.6k minted out of 10k. So that means for the remaining phase two, there will be 7.4k left to be minted. Exactly. What was the second part of the question? Sorry, I forgot that part.
The utility behind it.
Okay, okay. You want to take this one? I don't know. Like, I don't want to accidentally spill some. Because last time we did an AMA accidentally. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you. So, yeah, so there be in terms. Okay, so utilities, right? Is before we can even get to there, like, let's talk about the capabilities first. Like, what is this Sense Infinity? And I remember earlier this conversation where I used the PS5 analogy, where really you are using a Zenith Infinity like a PlayStation 5 account, and the PlayStation is like the game console platform to host these games, right? But of course, it's not just a PlayStation account in this. It's actually something that a hosts your digital identity. But of course, having that alone is not a strong enough impetus towards getting the Zenith Infinity. So there will be capabilities such as building tools that you can build with the Zenith Infinity, right? And it's something that which I'll get to in a bit. It's like, what happens if the Zenith Infinity mints out? Like, how are we going to include more people in this? But I'll get into that in a bit. But so in terms of utilities, yes, there will be a focus around standalone utilities with the loots and the Xenos because it's kind of like a synergy, right? We have this thing called a synergy culture, really. And I know there's a lot of new terms being thrown around here, but it's something that the team has. We really believe in having, having features that have a relationship with the overall like ecosystem, right? Because if the Xenos Infinity has a synergy relationship with the MVM world, and it ties in like a synergy relationship with like the loot culture, all three of those will come into play in creating an ecosystem if you think about it. I can't really reveal what the Xenos Infinity Zone utilities are yet because we're still kind of hashing things out, but there will be utilities behind the Xenos Infinity. And it's not just like flying, that's why you should get a Xenos Infinity. No. You should get a Xenos Infinity because it represents you. I mean, that's why we have like 10,000 designs of it. You should get a Xenos Infinity because you want to basically build your metaverse presence, your Web3 identity. You should get a Xenos Infinity because you just want to hang out with your friends. It's just as simple as that, right? So that like, as much as I want to say there'll be dope utilities behind it, which there will be, I think you should be getting a Xenos Infinity really because it's like you see it as a way to just engage with the community and have an advanced experience from our lens that we haven't tapped for the public. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just small point to add on to that. So there's a question that we've been getting a lot is, so there's 10,000 Xenos, but after, like, does that limit it to only 10,000 people being able to play? And in the long run, obviously we want more people to play than just 10,000. So that kind of answers the question indirectly. But of course, as Yuzu mentioned, there will be specific utilities and benefits that will be revealed later from holding a Xenos. So yeah, keep an eye on.
And just want to add on to that too about the utilities and everything. Like once the 10,000 Xanos mints out, right? Which I said I was going to get into a little. A lot of projects are saying like, "Oh, how are we going to get into this? Like if we don't have a Xenos Affinity, like does this mean we can participate? Of course not. Of course not. The main reason we want to mint out our Xenos Affinity is really because it's our main flagship like account item that's really home to us, right? But of course, once we have that minted out, we're going to be brainstorming ways that could potentially allow projects to import certain models in that really represents the community, like maybe like something like a Llamaverse model or Llamaverse asset. You could just directly just import it, but we're going to kind of meet halfway here and trying to find a true collaboration between a Xenos Infinity in terms of designing the way it looks with future like projects, right? Where we might even create like the sky's the limit here. What I'm trying to say, like even if the 10,000 were to mint out, I think the team would be even more fueled to think of a different way or collect. We don't know really. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, but just want to let the people know if you don't get to mint a Xenos Infinity or have like if we were to mint out, it's really not the end of the world. We are a community-driven brand again. Like we are a brand that really focuses on the needs of the users, the customers. So it's not something to worry about if you can't mint it. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. And for the chat, we are giving away 5 whitelist bots for the upcoming mint. And
Let's
we
go.
will be sending out a form pretty soon. So make sure you fill it out if you are interested. Yeah, I'll just end it there, I guess. Are there any collabs you're working on?
Oh, okay. So good question. And wait, before that, like, is it exclamation mark multiverse thing in the chat for the whitelist, or is that for
It's for
something
the
else?
PO app.
Oh, it's for the PO app. I see. I see.
Yes, we're
Makes
giving away
sense.
2 things.
Oh,
So
damn.
generous.
Okay,
So
so
generous.
generous. Damn. But yeah, are we working on any collabs? So actually, yes, in two forms. So there is the short term, like more short term collabs, which is alpha launch. So we actually have a lot of alpha launch partners, which I'll explain in a second. And then we have more of the long term collabs, which obviously we can't reveal too much yet, but things are cooking. Um, so for the short-term collabs, actually, as Yuzu mentioned before, we have about like 14 or 15 partners that we're going to be announcing, and we have been announcing them like since like 5 days ago. So we're going to announce like one or two per day. Not in any specific order, but these are partners who will be featured in our alpha launch. In terms of, we're going to design a custom loot box for them. So earlier you saw the one for Project URS, like that's one example. And for each of these, partner projects, we're going to purchase some of the NFTs to use as like loots that people can actually collect. So that's more of like the short term, and it's also for like those projects and other projects to see like, oh, actually, like, damn, like this is what you can do on Multiverse VM, and yeah, that's kind of like a bridge towards more of a longer term partnership as well. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And are there any other NFT projects that inspire you right now? You look at someone doing something to like, oh my god, that's cool. I wanna,
Yeah.
use that in our project in our own unique way.
For sure, and I think like Yuzu would have the same answer, but Yuzu, you can jump in after me. Obviously the big one is art dev. So like we both started off like just holding NFT worlds, and we're actually like planning to build something on NFT worlds, but then we ended up coming on to Multiverse VM. So art dev is like a dev wizard. Obviously, like the things that he's doing is like really innovative in the space, whether that's like gasless transactions or like allowing like cross community or cross world integrations of like NFT items, etc., etc. So like he's a dev wizard, but RKY, so like one of our like founders and also lead devs, like he's a dev wizard as well. So like there's art dev and then there's RKY, and yeah, a lot of the stuff that he's doing is trying to reduce the barriers to entry for people who are maybe like Web 2 or like around that space to join in, and that's something that we are trying to take into consideration as well, and we think it's really cool.
Yeah, like I just want to add on to that because we hold really high respects for the NFT Worlds team. They're huge sources of inspiration to us. Really, we wouldn't really be here without like the NFT World project, quite frankly. And we have like I have kind of talked to ArcDev and Temp a little bit before, just kind of throwing suggestions really, because I own NFT Worlds, and I was saying like, oh, maybe we should have this, we should have that, just like, and they're really nice people, just like, yeah, like that is something we can consider, like really humble individuals, and that was like some people that we're just really happy to know that they're in a space like that, because we know like this metaverse failed is in the right palms, so it's we don't want to like, we know the public as usual, like we're trying to kind of create this kind of competition, this sort of like rivalry between projects, but we don't want to have this kind of things. We really just want to establish like respect, and just we know we have audiences that are tailored towards different contents. That's like the voxel audience that loves Minecraft, and I'm a huge fan of Minecraft too. And there's an audience who's more towards like like Unity stuff. So it's really just something that's like apples and oranges. And I just want to give out, like, not that you need a shout out or anything, but just when just kind of mention about collaboration, so we thought it's cool to just kind of go a bit into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been hearing a lot about NFT World, and for someone that spends as much time as I do within the NFT space, like I actually have not looked at it at all. Like after
Really?
it hit 10 Ethereum floor, I'm like, I'm priced out. So I just didn't even bother to look at it. But
Mhm.
I guess I should check it out. Like I only hear good things about it, so it doesn't hurt to
Yeah,
learn.
Definitely.
for sure.
Solid technology behind it, like solid layers of innovation that you're kind of layering on top of Minecraft is honestly impressive. Honestly
Yeah,
impressive. Yeah.
I'd say like half of it goes towards like the team and half of it goes towards like the vision or like the idea, and like they do have both, so I think it's really cool as well, for sure.
Cool. Awesome. And you mentioned onboarding Web 2 people into the metaverse. How do you think is the best way about going that? Because I think most of them hate the metaverse. Whenever I post about a metaverse
Yeah.
and it goes
Mhm.
viral, it's just like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
comments are nasty.
Yeah. I think I could start with this first, and right, Daphne could
Mhm.
with Daphne paddle on this. So you know our dreams really as a platform is, if we really want to be an open metaverse, we got to get the Web 2 people on this. So and what you mentioned is really interesting there, because I would, you mentioned hate, right? Like those people are really like to just, but I see this, they're just afraid of it. Not really afraid in the sense of like they're fearful of it, but more of like they don't really understand the potential of it. And it kind of cultivate that unknowing fear of like, what is this? I'm not, because it's, there's a lot of, it can be really, really capital intensive, right? For a project to just go into the metaverse. It's not like a decision that you can just make overnight. And we have been actually approaching like certain Web 2 firms and saying like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And the general kind of feeling that we're getting from this crowd is, they're just not ready yet, in the sense that they're afraid to kind of take the leap of faith, and they're just waiting for that one firm to go crazy on it, and they'll be like, yeah. So it shows you a really, well, it tells me, at least from my, I mean, not financial, advice or anything, but what it tells me is this Web 2 market. It's not that they're not going to get on board, but they just need to see some kind of signal. There's a lot of noise now, but not a lot of signal, because they're still really early, considered really early. But I really am confident that the MVM platform, at least, is going to be the home to not just the Web3 creators, but the Web2 creators. And this is really where Ryan and I come into play. There's the job of the biz team, where we have to orchestrate, design a way that reduces the friction for this Web2 people, entities to come into play. And I think it'd be beautiful, really having a harmony between the Web 2 and the Web 3, finding a common ground of like a sweet spot where like services could be created out of it. Like for example, South China Morning Post, like that's a newspaper company, right? That's a publisher, but they got into Sandbox and they're doing something so different to what they kind of what they're known for doing. We want to kind of embrace that diversification within Web 2 entities. Like take a leap of faith, and our job is to reduce that friction to make you feel more confident. So it's a work in progress. And are we working with collab? Yeah, we are. And that's the point of this marketing campaign, is to reveal a partner every day and to the alpha launch and beyond. And Ryan mentioned something about having long-term partnerships, and we want to say that we are already in the works of actually securing long-term partnerships with projects, in the sense where they're going to be doing what they're doing with NFT worlds, like building on our world, like purchasing in an MVM world and building exclusive content to this on their worlds. So that's our vision, really, to be a platform. A lot of people think we're a game, and like we are a host of games, but we're not a game. We are like a platform of games, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think you explained it like most of what I wanted to say. Like I just add on like Web 2, so it's split into like users as well as like let's say professional companies, right? So professional companies wise, it's about more telling them that hey, when you jump into the metaverse, you're not like throwing your whole business model there, right? You can see it as like an extension, and we want to be your extension. You don't need to fully commit into this, and we are currently like a smaller team, and we want to help tailor like these particular services to you, so we can work directly with you to help build and like tailor things. In terms of users, so like Yuzu reiterated a lot about friction, and that's something that we do really strongly believe. Like we're just imagining like if a Web 2 user like just wanted to like go on Multiverse VM and like join a game or an experience, like how they do that, like do we have to eliminate like create some sort of in-game wallets so that they don't need to create a MetaMask account or like gasless transactions, things like this. It's constantly things that we're thinking about as well.
Yeah. You guys have a great model of onboarding Web2 people because it's free to play. There's rewards, and then also, yeah, you can build without needing any. You know, I can go in and build, and I have no builder knowledge, so those are great ways. And I can just tell like these loads are probably very satisfying to open. It's like
Yes,
opening a
yes.
card pack. I love
Yes,
that
sir.
stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. I hope you'll be able to experience that.
I
Being
hope
one of the
so.
first to like jump in and like find the loot.
I'm never first. Someone else is gonna get it before me.
Well, have more
But I'll try.
confidence.
I'll try.
Oh, fair shot, fair shot.
And yeah, like I think a lot of people just hate on NFTs and the metaverse now. I think it's just a lot of misunderstanding, honestly, because in 2017 I hated kitties. I was like, this is stupid. But now I'm like so
Yeah,
deep into NFTs. And even like early 2020 when NFTs were like coming, when it was starting to get hyped up, I'm like, I don't know. But then when I found out that NFTs could be incorporated into gaming, that's when I had the click. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I've been telling my friends about NFTs all of 2022, and he's really big into music. And what he loves to do is he likes to find small artists before they blow up. And I told him I invested in some musicians NFTs, and I told him about that. And then now he's excited about NFTs. So I think we just have to keep innovating, and then as we continue to get more utility inside the space, more and more people will start to join in.
I completely agree. I mean, I'll speak for myself first, but so I actually heard about this space, this whole NFT space, like only like maybe like half a year ago, like around that time. So when before that, I was like so skeptical on like like crypto as well as like NFTs, like wow, it's not fungible. You can't there's no liquidity. But like once I started getting into it, and as you said, like talking about integrating NFTs into games, like imagine like Counter Strike, you have like a specific like knives that are made towards for you or like a gun that would like generate so much value and also like so much user experience there as well. So I agree, like the space is super new, and the metaverse space in particular is like very new in terms of what we're doing. Like when we get into like later on and VR and AR is like integratable, so like virtual reality and whatnot, that will be like a big turning point. And as I don't know if you saw in our trailer here as well, like we actually showcased some VR and AR like functionalities here. So like people can actually like experience this, and that's just like one extension that we're preparing for in the future.
Great,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Is there already land sale, or is that still in the works?
Are you talking about like multiverse VM sales?
Yeah.
Yes. So actually, that was fully minted out 5 months ago.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yes, yeah. So we minted out the multiverse VM like land portion, and now we're minting out the Zen Infinity like slash character portion of things. And once that's together, then we start working on the loot culture and bringing everything and tying everything together. It's kind of the general gist of.
Cool.
Mhm.
And what is your long-term vision? Where do you see the project maybe 5 years from now?
Wow, I love this question. I really love it because
It was waiting.
it really, it really kind of allows us to take a step back from everything we're talking about and kind of tying it to a bigger picture here, right? So 5 years from now, wow. I mean, where will crypto be in 5 years? I mean, that scares me just thinking about how crazy the space moves
Yeah,
in just a month. Never mind 5 years.
yeah,
So yeah, I think 5 years. Wow. I think with technology, right? I mean, again, I could be completely wrong here, but we are going to definitely go into VR and experience reality, those kind of things. Because we will have voice chat, proximity voice chat functionalities. So and we will have VR support on this after multiplayer's out. So we'll just be doing ourselves a huge disservice if we don't really go bigger into that VR route. You know what I'm saying? So we really want to go down that route of having a more immersive. I think we're gonna go into immersiveness from there. Something more of immersiveness and what is the metaverse, right? Are we something where we can really take an opportunity if we are really innovating in it? We could redesign the experience of what the metaverse is now. Should it be taking place on a screen or through a VR goggles, or even better, an option? You know, so what I'm trying to say here is, I think we're going to evolve together with the innovation of technology and the needs of our customers. The needs of
yeah,
our customers and the innovation of technology. We're going to evolve together with it. And the thing about a team is that yeah, we're really small, but let me tell you something, that we are really efficient because there's a lot of this really strong communication, and we are really fast to pick up on things. We see what people are doing, and we kind of tune it to fit our own theme. How can we kind of weave our theme in that? We're really observant, we're really responsive, and we listen. We really listen to the needs of suggestions. People saying, right now, if I'm sure if everyone in the community were like saying, hey, let's do something like with getting out like rental kind of thing, renting system, where you can fractionalize your lands. I'm sure if like everyone in the community now was saying that, we will evolve together with them and create that feature that is demanded for. So it's something, I guess, gives you better visibility in terms of where we'll be in 5 years, will be in terms of what the customers want and where technology will be in 5 years' time. I hope that answers your
yeah,
question. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And one thing I was supposed to mention, and I completely forgot, the website is amazing. I've never seen a website
Thank
like this.
you.
It's
So,
super unique.
Ricky, who's the founder of this project and the head developer, will be happy to hear that because
It's amazing.
we've got a mixed reviews. I'll be honest. Some people are saying that it has really bad UI, which I agree to. I agree that the UI could be improved, but you know, Ricky kind of embedded the concept and the fear of the Windows 95 into this. Kind of, he kind of instilled his flavor, his own flavor, I guess, of art into this, which might not have been with, would not have sat well with everyone, because some people have preferred a cleaner, website. But we're working on it, so we're gonna have a official website in the future that kind of joins the Zenith Infinity and the Multiverse VM, because there's like two websites now, and it can be really confusing. But we're gonna work on it. So just some heads up, yeah. So if you click feeling lucky, if you were to click feeling lucky, and I mean, no, sorry, explore. If you were to click explore and click my simulations, I'm not sure if you have to connect, but basically you could do this later in your own time. But we actually have a demo now, like a playground where you can actually like kind of run around in your world and just kind of, oh, this is the old website actually. You should check the newer website, which is called Zenith Infinity. This is the Multiverse VM website, which is the first one. The second one, actually, yeah, this one. If you click the picture, like the video of the yeah, and if you were to click feeling lucky again, and if you were to if you were to click feeling lucky and click on interactive metaverse, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so now we so Ricky created something that allows people to play in.
I think he lagged out, right? So
Yeah.
basically, this is nowhere near what you'll be able to experience within the alpha launch as well as multiplayer. But this is just something that he created essentially for the fun of it. You get to use your Xeno Infinity character here, like as you can see, and move around and explore. So the thing next to you is actually, well, there's actually two things that I want to point out here, and I'm saying this relatively quickly because if you don't own a Zeno, then there's a very quick, like, short time limit trial, and it'll like kind of time. Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's the star launcher. You basically like select the neighbor that you want to go to, and you fly towards their portal. And yeah, that's kind of what you see here. There's also another thing. Oh yeah, you reached your your time limit trial. But yeah, the thing you see there, like the huge portal, that's actually a gallery. So if you're able to go in it, I'm not sure if you click E. Oh, you're still able to go in it. Cool. But basically, within this gallery, you're able to. It's like a gallery for your different NFTs, and you can put them all on display here. And it's just kind of like this cool side like feature that Ricky created for this as well.
Yeah. I guess I can understand where people are coming from when they say the UI could be smoother, because maybe they look at it and there's like a lot of things to click, so it can be overwhelming. But it's definitely a unique concept.
For sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
I love it.
I'd say like the reason for this is like initially, like, by the way, this whole thing, like everything you see here on the website as well as the initial multiverse mint was created by Ricky alone and like one person.
Yeah.
So I mean that's crazy. But Ricky is a very like hardcore developer. Like he's a dev wizard, but like regarding like UI UX or like anything marketing business, like that's where we started coming in like later on down the line. And the UI UX, as you mentioned, like it's something that we'll touch upon later too. So yeah, good point.
Cool. And let's announce the winners
The
of
winners.
the
Let's do
giveaway.
that. Yeah, excited.
All right.
The winners. Yeah.
I'm terrible at pronouncing names, but I'll try. The first one is just a bunch of letters, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. 5 winners. One of them is Hope Me Win. The second one is also a bunch of letters and a bunch of numbers. And the fourth one is WX Rank. And the fifth one is Shandon Gren. Shandon Gren 1. Okay, I'll type it. 'Cause-
Okay, okay.
There we go.
That was a good attempt.
Come on. The first one and the third one is. How do you even pronounce that? Das.
It's shush, something like that.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, just come to our Discord and submit a ticket, and like are those their Discord usernames, by the way?
I think that's their Twitch usernames. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. But their wallets attach as well. So I mean that works either ways.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. Is there anything else you guys would like to add?
I think at the top of my head, in terms of like, we just like to end it off with like something really like like that gets the audience to really reflect on, what you're going to do in this space. And I think a really great way to end this is to just ask the audience first, like, to really just take a moment and think, like, what do you want to create? If we were to give you a world now, think of something that you always wanted to create, be it a game, be it experience, anything like an art gallery or something. Think about that now. And once you think of that dream, you want to like identify yourself with it, right? And that's by having a Zillus affinity, but building the identity around that dream. But then now having that identity around that dream, you want to build on it, right? So that's where the Multiverse VM come into play, a platform to build that dreams. So that really creates a full circle, which we want to call the ecosystem. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a great way to just kind of sum everything up. Like,
I mean, that's a great analogy. All I would have said is like, get excited for the alpha launch, because like we're excited and we hope that you guys are as well.
Yeah, Ryan and I have really different ways of like delivering things. Like I'm like a storyteller, like I like really like getting the audience to like think about it and feel like the energy and everything. But Ryan's real like just all right, yep, you got excited, let's get hype. And we need that. It's a good balance. It's a good balance.
Yeah, it's good teamwork.
For sure.
But yeah, thank you guys for coming on. This was a great chat, and I really enjoyed learning about your project. I really hope the audience did too. And I'm excited for the alpha on the 20th.
For sure. We'll send you guys a message. So like, stay tuned. And thanks for having us as well. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you to everyone that tuned in to the stream. Have a great day or have a great night. Peace out.
Yeah.